the other interesting thing that comes out of this, which I didn't even think about as being a possible foreshadow of the future, was the incursion stuff. Because they bring it up there, and then they bring it up later when he goes and meets Evil Strange in his world, in the other one's world, and then fucking they bring it up again when Clea shows up. I think talks about an incursion or whatever, and that is a potential sign towards not the original or the sequel or the similarly named but not connected at all series from the early 2000s, but the 2000 was, let's say, 14, 15,
Somebody get
13?
help. Eric just had a stroke.
Yeah,
somewhere between 2013 or 14. Secret Wars, which it in that and the Avengers, New Avengers run that led up to it was about incursions of like in that Avengers, New Avengers run, there was like alternate Earths like showing up, and there'd be these incursions where it's like where the planets could, in theory, smash into each other and fucking destroy each other, and like bad things happen. And the Illuminati played a big part in that.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, at one point they had to make a decision of whether to blow up another Earth or else it would have fucked them up, which they did, I think. And like that what that eventually leads to is like all the becomes terminal essentially, or just like all these universes get fucked. Then Doom, I forget how. Was it it's not Psycho Pirate. Psycho Pirate's the one who would do something like that in the fucking Marvel universe. Is it or in the DC universe? Is it Molecule Man?
You would know. You would know.
Yeah.
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 Essentially gets it so like Doom is like a god, and Doom like piecemeals this planet together, and it's a bunch of different parts, different environments into it's called Battle World, which I think is what the planet was called in the original Secret Wars back in the day. But it's got characters from a bunch of different universes. So you got like characters from the Ultimate Universe, like that's where Miles Morales originally came from.
We did talk about this. We touched on like
was that in there?
The Thor core and things like that.
The Thor core, yeah, that shit is all, and then so that I guess.
Bro, should you just fart?
No.
Good God.
It's possible that this is could be hinting towards this happening.
This conversation.
Did we talk about this in the last one?
I'd have to scrub through 20 minutes. Just briefly touch on it.
A little bit, but
okay. So yeah, that's basically set up of it. So this is something that could happen. They could potentially set it up because, like Clea says, that he's he says something about him. Some shit happen where an incursion's going to happen. Something, I don't know, but so this could be something set up for where Marvel's going to go to a Secret Wars situation, which would be a way to bring the multiverse stuff to like a fever, like to the apex of the multiverse stuff that they've started doing. Is this Secret Wars thing where you have a planet of people from all across the multiverse, different versions of people, and then like, I mean, and the former editor-in-chief of Marvel, Jim Shooter, he wrote the original Secret Wars, and he let something slip like a year or two ago that they had contacted him about, I don't know, maybe doing a novelization or something of Secret Wars because that's where the movies were headed towards. He kind of let that slip not too long because he doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's not employed by Marvel. He doesn't care.
Good for him.
Yeah, because things never didn't really end great with Marvel for him. But so like this actually, which is something I completely forgot until Wilson I think brought up the Incursion thing and maybe leading the Secret Wars last time. And that then popped back in my head of Jim Shooter saying that. What is I didn't think they'd do it, but like they can do it, and especially that would be a way to. Otherwise, if they're just gonna do 2 movies having to do with the multiverse, like what's the point? You know?
It's so hot right now.
It
Everything
is,
has to have
so-
a multiverse. Like
the
the
multiverse
Spider-Man
is so
one's
hot
coming
right
out
now.
again. You
I
know?
think
Everything
that-
Everywhere All at Once. That was a multiverse movie.
I
So
think
it's like-
that
Yeah.
it seems like they are setting up an end of this phase or 2 phases. This is going to be their end game, is them doing
Yeah.
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
And
Yeah.
here's how I see it going down, real quick.
Yeah.
Instead of Doom, it's Kang. Okay.
Yep.
He's
That's
the
what I was
one
thinking too.
creates Battle World, and what they've been doing is they've been setting up the multiverse the same way that they set up the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Mhm.
You drop one Infinity Stone in this movie. Don't even call it an Infinity Stone. You explain that later or whatever. You keep doing that, dropping little bits into each movie, and then you start connecting them. And they've
Right.
been dropping in either multiversal variants of people or
the introduction of the variants with like Loki and shit.
/ replacements.
Yep.
And then what you do is by the time you get to Secret Wars, you have, like, as an example, you have Hawkeye and you have Kate Bishop and you have at least one, if not more, multiversal variant of those 2 also on Battle World. So
Right.
that in those 2 movies of Secret Wars or whatever it is, you can have multiversal variants die off, or the original characters die off or retire, and then have Kate Bishop be the new and only Hawkeye in that example. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's a way too, if they wanted to. That's far enough down the line, depending on their situations at said moment. That might be a time too where you can look to a Downey or an Evans to come back
Yep.
as a multiversal version.
That's their
that's their
catching
that's-
Mjolnir. That's their fucking
Yep, that's that moment.
Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and fucking like one other person all step through a portal or whatever at the same time. Everybody in the audience goes fucking crazy.
Fucking ape shit.
But
That way,
Eric,
they only have to be there for one fucking movie, for like a couple scenes, and like there's no
and
fucking.
they don't even get like the killing blow or something. They
No.
do the thing where they set it up and
They're
they're
just
like,
there.
all right, have at 'em, kid. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But here's a really cool idea. When I heard this, I was like, oh my God, it's perfect. I don't know how they would do it exactly, but the idea in general is fucking perfect. If you get to the Fantastic Four by the time you do Secret Wars,
That's still at this point. Yeah, Fantastic Four is supposed to be in Phase 4, so it should be at the end of this phase. So
theoretically, they're there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not Doom by that point.
Because Secret Wars to me won't be for another at least 5 years. I don't think.
I think more realistically, it'll be closer to 10. Like
yeah. I was gonna say 10, but I was like,
movies?
I was gonna say 10, and then I was like, that might be a little extreme. I'm just gonna say 5,
No,
but 10 is more realistic. 10 is more realistic.
But I think
Because you look from Iron Man to Endgame, right? That's
that was
to be
a
fair.
while.
To be fair, that was about 10 years. But to be fair, they were building the whole universe then, but still.
I don't think in this version of Secret Wars, I don't think that they should introduce or include Doom by that point. I think that he should maybe just wait. Introduce the Fantastic Four, introduce. Well,
at the very least, not God Doom like in Secret Wars.
no. That's why I don't think he should be included at all, because it's so much
they're gonna
simpler to
pump him
just.
in there from the fucking first movie, dude. He's gonna be in there at some point.
Don't know. They're smarter than that. They will know. They'll say,
Yeah,
don't.
but he's gonna
fucking
be
blow
like
our
the end
load.
credits tease. He's gonna be the end credits tease. And
Maybe
then,
it'll be
like,
something about like Latveria, or they won't specifically say his name, but they'll probably tease it. Yes.
yeah.
But I just think it would be so much cleaner to not have him in there, because it's much simpler to just slot in Kang for Doom in that story.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
If you just
100%
do that,
agree, it should be and probably will be Kang that is that role, because he's already we already have, like, Kang variants. He is already, so instead of Kang being just a time person, which he generally is, he's like a time traveler, and he has a bunch of the different versions of him or different points in time. Like, this could be instead a multiverse thing, and those are multiversal, because they already called the one, whatever the fuck, his version from Loki,
The one above all, or the one?
Yeah, already called
the
him
one
a
who
variant.
remains.
Yeah, they already called him a variant, which means he's from a different timeline,
So
aka a different universe. So him being more of a multiversal being instead of just a time travel being would be a good way then to set him up as that kind of character for Secret Wars.
But if they don't, because if they still have Doom in the story, then you have to find something for him to do. You have to create, like, either adapt him into what's going on already, or create something new, and that just creates too much bloat. You know what I mean?
There is bloat. If they did this longer, like, I could totally see them. They could do a duology like they did with Infinity War and Endgame, or make it a trilogy even. Of you could have Doom in there as, like, conniving dude that's working for himself and like trying to whatever, but then kind of by the end of it be a more quote unquote heroic type situation where he realizes some shit or whatever, and not necessarily sacrifices himself, but like does something uncharacteristic of who he is, because he'll probably have character development by that point. And end up being a linchpin in them defeating Kang. Maybe the whole time, maybe he's trying to usurp Kang, trying to, like, steal his powers from, like, the shady background. And maybe
he's, like, kept prisoner because Kang knows how much of a threat he could be.
Right,
and then they just free him at the end, and then he helps. And
he, from the shadows, metaphorically / literally stabs Kang in the back, right? And like, and he's there. He's able to steal that power, to get that power, become this god, and then it has it, and then something happens, something whatever, for him to realize or change his thing, where he then remakes the universe, right? Remakes the world.
Hopefully, it's something like, okay, I love all of that,
because that's essentially what
fantastic.
he ends up. That's essentially what he ends up doing in the Secret Wars thing in the comic book. Like, he essentially puts the universe back together, like using the last of his power, whatever. What the motivation, I completely forget. And what's cool, what's funny too, is when he puts it together and remakes it, and he alters himself, and basically, like, at that point cures himself of his disfigurement, but he leaves a scar on his face just as, like, a reminder, essentially. So it's like, which goes back to, like, Kirby had this intention of, like, the idea was, like, Doom thinks he's horribly scarred and whatever, and you've come to find out that it's just he has a small scar on his face, and he's so egotistical and so involved that he thinks that it's an utter and complete disfigurement,
I love Dr. Doom, man.
Yeah.
He is I think one of, like, if not my favorite Marvel villain, I think he's one of my favorite Marvel characters ever.
But he's just so he's
oh
so
my
like
God.
he's such a serious threat, but he can be
Yes.
so he can be so funny at the same time
He can
because
be so
of his
goofy.
ridiculousness.
Yeah, but he's such a threat at the same time, and it's
There's
awesome.
a Doom like mini series or 12-issue series or whatever that came out a few years back, and it had all of that in it, where it's like serious Doom, but also just like ridiculous, like what the shit, what he's
Yeah.
thinking Doom. There was a variant cover for a comic that came out last week that was made to look like a postcard for Latveria, and it was like, so it's like,
nice.
welcome to Latveria, and it has like a
That's
sprawling
awesome.
shot of it, and it's got Doom standing there with his like arm out, like, look at my land. It was fucking hilarious.
So I think you do everything that you just talked about with Doom. That's a
Yeah.
great way to include him in the story.
Right.
And I think if we have the Fantastic Four in there, a very smart way to explain the power that everybody's like that Kang has, or that makes him a god, or that Doom has.
Yeah.
That should be the power cosmic.
Yeah.
Because the thing that like destroys the world that gets killed in these incursions should be Galactus.
That's what I was gonna say. Like maybe that's how Kang gets the power cosmic. Is he fucking fantastic?
He fucking
Maybe
finds a way
maybe
to-
the Fantastic Four aren't the ones that defeat Galactus. Maybe
No,
they get him on the ropes, and fucking Kang fucking swoops in and
Or
fucking.
they're the ones that learn about him, and they're just going out there and be like, "What the fuck is this?"
And it's a good way to
the second that they
position.
get there, they see Kang like do the thing.
And it's a good
"Oh
way
my
to
God."
position the Fantastic Four at the center of it, right?
Uh-huh.
And then that's also how it would make sense to have Doom have that kind of role in Secret Wars, is that the core of it is the Fantastic Four
And
and everybody around it.
You can even reslot Molecule Man for the fucking Silver Surfer and have him in there too, boy.
Yep, yeah, dude, Surfer. Yep, Surfer gotta be there.
He's the person that channels the power cosmic when Galactus isn't around, to allow Kang or Doom to be able to like do what they do.
If Hemsworth's still kicking around, could be a good way to fucking end his chapter too, by him doing something heroic and fucking giving it up, right?
Sure.
Um,
That would be a great, like, you don't have to also be like, is Galactus a celestial? Is he what? Well, maybe he's just like a multiversal being that goes around and eats worlds that are meant to end in like their natural cycle, or they're meant to be destroyed anyways, and he's just the like thing that eats it up.
because maybe that's how we get X-Men too, right? Maybe that's
What do you mean?
they're from in one of the multiverse worlds, right?
Sure.
And they're there on Battle World with everybody, and then once the Doom does his thing or whatever, because in the comics, when the world's put back, people from like a lot of these other universes don't survive, but certain characters from those worlds move to the main world, right? That's how Miles gets from Ultimate Universe to 616. That's how Old Man Logan gets from his universe to 616. So maybe that's how that happens, is when the world gets put back together. Now the X-Men are on this world with everybody, and then they've just always been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they would do it that way, where they've when the world's recreated, they've always been there.
Yeah. Instead of having to be like how the mutants been here this whole time and nobody's noticed and nobody's known. Having to explain why they didn't help out in any of these situations, how they didn't, whatever, essentially like the Eternals issue, right? How they've been there but never interfered or helped in these big things. It's the fact that at this point, they aren't here, but post Secret Wars, when the universes get, when the world gets remade, the universe gets remade into what it quote unquote once was, they are now part of the new world that is made. and they've always been there, so you don't have to retroactively explain anything.
Or
That's
you
just
can
how it's
also-
always been. You can just do it a throwaway line of like, oh yes, the X-Men, they were here for whatever, and
not
you don't
just
have
the
to.
X-Men, not just the X-Men. You can
Oh,
also
yeah.
be like, and the mutant gene is
Yeah.
now in the fucking population because
Yep,
the
and
world
it's
got
always
put
been
back
there.
together. It's
Yep.
always been there in
Yep.
this new reality.
Yep, it's a quote unquote clean way to get the X-Men in there without having to upend and explain a bunch of shit, right?
I'm like, I'm literally making expressions to myself right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm putting my hands out in front of me and like shrugging. I'm like, you know what? I gotta say that's one of the most appealing ways to do it because it comes with the least amount of baggage attached to it.
It does. It's like it just kind of occurred to me. It's just like it's a clean way to get new things into this universe that weren't there before into it and not have to do an ass ton of legwork to explain their presence, right?
They've already done...
they've introduced the X-Men in Secret Wars. They're there. They're helping with the shit. When the world gets remade, fucking Doom is just like, fucking these guys did some shit. They're here now too. Like, and then the world's born anew, and fucking you get like a montage of the fucking of the world now, and you have, you know, whoever's left over, whoever's like, maybe like someone's like, oh, you're just done superhero and they're in a normal life now. You get a shot of the fucking school and the mutants are there.
Maybe like pictures on the wall of like history with the other characters together, so that you know that they were there, like in this
background. Yep,
Eric,
and then that's
Eric,
that's
you
it.
Figured it out, dude. You figured it out because
It's
in Endgame, the big draw was seeing all the characters that we've seen in these movies individually together in a way that we'd never seen before. If we fucking do a thing where you make the call. Is Secret Wars going to be a duology or a trilogy?
So
in your mind right now, just
in my mind it would be a trilogy, just because of the amount of shit you'd have to cover.
Okay, so in fucking movie 1, 1 hour and 6 minutes in, when we're sitting in the Sanctum Sanctorum, let's say, or the Baxter Building, or goddamn.
Or we're even just exploring the fucking Battle World, the different regions of Battle World.
If they're going to show up on Battle World, it's like we're with a group of characters that we've been following, and we're like, okay, we're here. And then somebody just fucking walks through a door or comes around a corner, and it's that character. Maybe it's not Wolverine, but it's like somebody that we're like, holy fucking it. And shortly thereafter, maybe like 5-8 minutes later, a couple more characters show up, and then a couple more characters show up until we've got like a solid little group of X-Men that we recognize and we know, and we're like, oh my god,
because the way Battle World worked in Secret Wars was the different chunks of these worlds that were you know, forced together. They're chunks from these worlds, so you have areas that are different. So you'll have an area that's like the Marvel Zombie area. You have an area that is, you know, fucking, I don't know, like say like the Wasteland from Old Man Logan, or like you know, all these different parts of these multiversal worlds that are forced together. And those parts are different regions on the world. So one of the regions on there could be like, you know, an X-Men region, right?
Yeah.
From their world. And that's where we discover them as whoever our main hero or group of people that we're following through this are exploring the fucking wasteland. They fucking,
Eric.
you know...
Eric.
Yeah.
The region that they are trying to get to, their goal is to get back to this place that they somehow are unable to get to. Is Krakoa.
There you go. Yep.
And
they've heard something of this place, and they
with their goal being to get back there. There is a reason a specific reason for separation between the small group, maybe 5 characters at the most, that we meet within the first movie.
Yeah.
And then within maybe like the last 10-15 minutes of the second movie, like during, or maybe like at the beginning of the third act during the second movie, we get to Krakoa and we meet the other, like maybe like 10 more X-Men.
Yep.
Or just mutant characters.
It's mutant kind is fucking is there. And who knows, maybe someone in the first one's like mortally wounded or something in one of these regions. Like they've come across, like, you know, like the Hulk gang or whatever from fucking, I keep going to Old Man Logan because that's one of the worlds I remember. But like, and someone's like mortally wounded, and like they're trying to get him, and then like someone who's cloaked up or some shit, you know, like or like, you know, like a trench coat, some shit that's tokenized, like a token thing of the wasteland setting for Old Man Logan. It was just like, you know, come with me, you know, we'll go to a place where, you know, death and disease are no longer a worry or whatever. And like they're like, you know, what is this place, whatever. And then the person, and it's like as they're settling in a place and the person's like taking off, they're like, they have a scarf wrapped around their face, whatever. And then the person turns around and it's some sort of X-Men, and they're like, you know, it's called Krakoa or some shit like that. And then boom, it's done, right? And fucking next movie, then you like pick up, or they say that, and then like, and they get to the spot, or he says that, like, this place where death and disease isn't a thing or whatever anymore, and they follow this guy and he leads them towards it, and they get to this, once they get through all the shit and they get to where it's at, the person, you know, uncloaks, and it's some sort of fucking X-Men, and they're like, you know, welcome to Krakoa or whatever, and then fucking boom, done. You know what I mean? And then we pick up next time, and our person who was mortally wounded is now perfectly fine because he's had some of that good Krakoa medicine, and fucking.
When Infinity War came out, what was the thing that people, like, non-spoilery, said to each other that was like word of mouth draw for people to see the movie? I mean, I think generally it was like, dude, this character did something with this character. Like, people were excited that like these characters were doing stuff together.
Right.
Without being spoilery, people were mainly like, oh my gosh, it was crazy when this happened.
Right. Well, part of it is the Avengers are going to meet the Guardians, right? That's part of it.
There it is. And when, oh my God, when this movie comes out, the first movie, the thing people are going to be saying to each other is, dude, the fucking X-Men are in it. Yeah. No joke. They're in it. They're in it for real for a long time. The whole movie. They're there.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be great.
And then people know what to expect with the second movie, and everyone's like, yep. And then by the third movie, they're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then we wrap it up in that way that we've already done, and they're like, oh my God.
Yep, exactly. Marvel, if you're listening, fucking have that idea for free. I will not raise a stink. I will not try to sue you.
I don't care.
Because of just fucking, that's yours, dude. I don't have it for free. Because I know, I'm sure movies are just probably a lot like comics, where like comic writers oftentimes are like, hey guys, don't ever fucking tell me your ideas for stories or anything, because if anything like that shows up in my thing because of either coincidence or fucking it absorbed into my mind, I don't even remember, I can get in trouble. Like, you know, like, so like, if that's the case, fucking don't worry, dudes. Take it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I want no credit. Gosh. Just take it. Just take it. Have it. I don't care.
And you said something a couple times that honestly, I hate to say it, but I got fucking triggered, man.
Yeah.
In the worst way, but in the best way. You said a couple times that somebody was cloaked up. And
Yeah,
that
cloaked
makes
up.
that makes me upset because I fucking love Cloak and Dagger.
Oh yeah,
And
that
like,
shit ass TV show.
I mean, they had a middling at best TV show
Yeah.
on Hulu. I
Yeah.
I want to see them in the goddamn MCU.
I know.
Wait,
Dude.
they've already had Roxxon. That's the
Yeah.
thing. They keep fucking
Roxxon's
bringing
always
up
been in the
Roxxon.
background.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, sure.
Roxanne's been in the background of everything.
What are you teasing me
Since
for?
almost the beginning.
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
They're there.
Oh my god! I want. What do they call it? The dark zone inside
Negative
of his cloak.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not
I
the
don't know.
negative zone. God,
Oh,
there's
I
like
don't
a
remember what it's called.
specific term, like the dark. It's not the dark dimension, but like
yeah.
I
Yeah,
want
'cause
to
that's the
see
thing
him
in Strange.
capture some people in his cloak, and I want to
Yeah.
see. I want to like. I love that lore, and I love how their powers interact with each other, and like,
Right.
there's so much. Marvel to me, like, their characters as far as their powers go are the most interesting thing. You know,
Oh yeah. Yep.
like I like that there's a big rock dude. I like that
Yeah.
there's a blue dude with a tail who's fuzzy who can teleport. I like
Yeah.
that there's, you know, a guy who wears like a fucking dark cloak made out of darkness. I like that there's a chick who can throw daggers made out of light. This shit is
Yeah.
cool. I want to see it.
Yep. Exactly.
Where are you,
But, yeah.
Tyler?
It's
What do you like?
I think he's just listening.
I'm listening. I was trying
Yeah,
to find a
I
good
think
spot.
it's
Yeah,
just
but I'm
absorbing.
asking you a question. What in Marvel? What kind of stuff really gets you going? What really gets your
Ooh.
goat with Marvel? That
I've
just really
I've
is
told
like,
you before that my biggest love in Marvel is Silver Surfer,
Oh yeah.
because that
Yep.
dude
See that
is,
Silver Boy?
is not in it to fight, to show
Oh.
off that he's like the really powerful dude. He has power cosmic and stuff like that. He's not
just
he's
there.
not in it
It's just
to do that. He's in it to contemplate life and the meaning of life in this weird setting. And I find that very interesting.
Post Galactus, yeah, but with Galactus, it's just like he's just there to be like
He's the
to
harbinger.
just show up.
Yeah, he's kind of
Yeah,
like the
he's
harbinger.
he's the angel. He's the angel to Galactus's god. He's just like, hey, guys, this dude's coming. Prepare.
I love
fucking
that.
time.
I love that.
And then after that, then it's just like then it's when he gets made aware of all these intricacies of life and whatever. Then he's just like, oh shit.
Well, and his setting is in space, and he's just like
Yeah.
cruising space on this like surfboard that goes
Surfing.
faster than light. Like it's just
Surfing and brooding.
like you're saying, like a fuzzy blue dude, and here's a silver man on a surfboard flying through space. Like it's just weird,
It's great.
weird but great.
That's wonderful.
That gets me going.
Yeah.
And I think we can wrap it up here because we're at an hour, and
Well, let's.
this is a
one-
great
one
Secret
last
Wars
thing.
digression, though.
I have
Well,
one
we have
last
to
question.
finish up Strange, but yes, yeah.
Well, we kind of did. We kind of just transitioned into Secret Wars from
we
it.
stopped at the Illuminati part. We kind of
Well, yeah,
Tyler-
it came right to the Secret Wars stuff pretty quick.
yeah.
Do you think that Silver Surfer in the MCU would be better served by his own movie of some kind or a Disney Plus series?
Oh, good question. Well, that origin story of his that could be cool to have as a series,
Yeah.
to have him
Maybe a
become
cool
the Silver
series.
Surfer.
I think that's the best way to do a solo Surfer thing, like because outside of that, I think Surfer serves better as
Yeah, like a side
as
character, a side dude, kind of like off in the
yeah, not necessarily, but definitely part of a group of people, right? Like definitely like to be there when stuff happens or to show up, because like his presence should be special.
Yeah, very
right?
special.
It shouldn't just be we shouldn't just be accustomed to the Surfer, you know.
Yeah.
He should be
I
this
don't
kind of
think that-
otherworldly thing,
Yeah, I don't think
kind of
that-
like the Watcher, where it's just like when he's there, that means some serious shit's happening, right?
but
Like
a lot of times people don't see it as being like significant when characters make rare appearances. They see it
Yeah.
as I don't know anything about this person. I don't know why
Yeah.
it's significant.
But that's why you
Um,
cover it with that. You get him in Fantastic Four, right? You show him show up with Galactus, and then that's like end of movie, and then you have Disney Plus series about Surfer, that tells his fucking origins. And then you have the next Fantastic Four movie, which is the end of that Galactus story. And then so you have this knowledge of who Surfer is, so then it makes his turn against Galactus have more meaning and make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this. Then you know the Surfer at that point. Yeah. So then when he does show up from going forward, you know where this dude comes from and why he is doing what he's doing, right? So it's like you get movie series about him, end of that story, and so it essentially serves like in a story where you have someone that gets introduced and is there for a minute, and then he does a flashback, and then you get all the origin of this person, and then it comes back to that point in time. That's kind of how that works with this story, or with this format. And then, like, you're not overexposed. You have him at the end of one movie, you have that series, you have him in that next movie, and then he is this fucking cosmic powerhouse that, to me, should only show up when he's fucking needed, right?
Yeah. When
he's fucking, part of it. And, like, you can then have or you could just have the two, him show up with Galactus at the end of one movie, then the next movie happen, and then him at the end contemplating like what his existence and what his purpose is from then on. And then that goes into the series, and it opens with him fucking cruising through space, sitting there thinking like, what is my existence now? What is life all about? And then it goes back to, then it's a flashback and tells his origin of everything. And then it's him pondering life and its meaning in space.
Yeah, you could do it. He's right? Already Silver Surfer established, and he's going to these worlds, and then each world he discovers, he's remembered about something from his past, and then that's when you go into the origin.
It's like a more well done version of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
We have some happening in the present day, and then you get flashbacks that are tangentially connected kind of in the past.
So we can always see the Silver Boy. We can always see him, but then like go to back to the past.
But then you get to see him as Norrin Rad on his fucking planet. And, that'd be cool.
I think that the Silver Surfer, I agree with Tyler. He's a cool character, and I would like to see him do his own thing. And I think that it seems like a likely thing for Marvel to do, because if you nail down a simple and effective way to do that effect for making somebody silver, all you have to do is have somebody do voice. You can totally create everything else you need to do, maybe a little bit of mocap, but all you need is somebody to sit in a booth. And
here's a question.
Yeah.
With Silver Surfer, because this is something I never really thought about, but it came to my attention, and it has kind of been how it's modernly portrayed with how he looks. Do you want him silver, or do you want him like chromed out where he fucking reflects everything like he is in those original movies, or that first two movies, or that first movie that he was in? And fucking, like, I know a lot of time when Alex Ross draws Surfer, he's very reflective. Or do you just want him to be shiny Silver Boy?
I think that he should just be silver, because that, to me, is...
He's silver.
Yeah, that's his character.
Like, it should be.
Because silver is not chrome, right? You know what I mean? Like, silver is just a shiny color. It's not necessarily reflective.
To me...
like that is reflective.
The silver stands out a lot more against something like space, or like, it's just much easier to see what that character is and what he's doing and his expressions on his face. And I also think that he should have just like stark white eyes. He's maybe flying through like a part of space that that has like a nebula or like some different coloration to it. He can reflect some of that color.
Well,
but like,
yeah, but just like anybody, like if you or I were in a spot with a bunch of fucking bright pink and
exactly.
blue lights, it would show our skin would be pink and blue, right?
But
You know what
I'd
I mean?
really
From the
like for
lights.
him to just be silver, yet with like some shading to the different areas of his body that
Yep.
that like makes sense with the lighting. Really.
Yeah.